I've always tried to look ahead and see where the market was going, what the business was doing. And other than Cosby, the sitcoms were trying to, are we going to do one camera? Are we going to do this? More buffoonery, which they did do. Um, um, where was it going? And I thought, man, our dramas, that's going to be the thing as it turned out to be. I better develop. So I got into a battle at CBS after the show was canceled. They had to pay us off. Remember, we picked up for the second season. So they gave me a nice package for not picking the show up. But they gave my partner, Hugh Wilson, a guaranteed on the air 13. They did a show called The Amazing Teddy Z. It was a wonderful show. But I didn't get one. And I took that as an abridge. I went like, well, now, wait a minute. You gave my partner, we were co-executive producers, although he wrote most of the scripts. I wrote one of them. I said, where's my guarantees? Well, they come up with a lot of scatting around truth. I said, I ain't buying that. So I decided to start doing some pulling back on my civil rights days. I decided to go after them in a business way, not in a, but I used a few old ways of getting their attention. I got their attention, and I said, I want to guarantee 13 on the air. And blacks, there weren't many blacks on CBS during that time. And so I had them pay attention to that. And I used at that time the president of William Morris, who was my agency at that time, Jack Smith, I think his name was. Wonderful man, tall, just he was incredible. A runner of William Morris, who was killed in a plane crash not too long after that. But anyway, I went to him. I said, "You got to help me, man. This is not right." He agreed. No, it's not right. So I went in, had a meeting with Kim Masters, who's then president of the network in LA, and I made my case. And he was loved Kim Masters, wonderful man. And so he made a deal with me. He says, I can't give you 13, but I'll make it sure that you have, I won't say a guarantee, but if you'll have every opportunity to get your 13. I want you to develop a show. He said 2 shows. So I developed an hour show and a half hour. The half hour was my favorite, still one of the best scripts ever written for me in my development, called Jimmy Mac, which I thought was going to be the show. So I developed this other thing based on something that happened to me about a month before. I'd gone on a vacation after Frank's place. I went to the Bahamas, Harbor Island, and I met this incredible little sister team, Fuzzy and something else. Come to find out, she was a woman who helped put together the Marshall Plan. She worked for the State Department. And her sister was one of the top pediatricians in the world. And they would, where we were staying, they'd run by, we would sit down and talk. I mean, these 2 little old white ladies. I'm going like, who are these people? They're so fascinating. They're, full of energy. So we developed over about 5 or 6 days this sort of lunch kind of thing. And she started telling us about the State Department, her life at the State Department, and the Marshall Plan, and going to China and all this stuff. It was fascinating. So I was telling my wife, I said, and she would tell me some of the funny things. Scoop Mitchell, I think his name, Scoop Jackson, whoever the senator was that she worked with. And so I left and I said, I got to develop this hour show. And one of my favorite old movies is The Thin Man, Nick and Nora Charles. I said, I want to do, again, going back to my childhood, you look at these images, and I'm thinking, I got an opportunity. I'm going to develop a Nick and Nora Charles. So Snoops was basically the Thin Man, which with Daphne and I playing Nick and Nora Charles. It was written that way, fast-paced comedy, boom, boom. The pilot was wonderful. Well, to my surprise, they picked up the 1-hour pilot. And true story, again, story behind the story behind the story. We're shooting the pilot in Washington, D.C. And there's a scene that Daphne is being chased by some foreign bandit, and she has to hide. And she runs out of the house, and she's trying to find a place to go knock on the door. And before the scene is shot, we shoot it in Georgetown. I'm running around looking for a place, because I'm also the exec producer, to to have this scene shot. I found this little doorway that really looks nice, around the corner from a nice house that was our supposedly where we lived. I said, pick that house. Knock on the door. I sent my location for knock on the door, see if they'll give us permission for her to hide just in the door. We're not coming in. They said, okay. So I go back in around the corner and I look up and the guy comes and says, some little old lady wants to see you. I said, well, he said, you know, my black security guy, he said, some little old white lady wants to see you. Says she knows you. I'm going, what? She said, yeah, come over here. I go over. It's the woman from the Harbor Island. It's,
Wow.
it's Fuzzy. We picked her house. I didn't even know she lived there. We picked her door. And she came out, gave me a big hug. And I told her what I was doing. I said, based on, you know, and actually I had called her before and she had made it possible for Daphne to get a tour of the State Department. But anyway, I said, and out of nowhere, we picked your door. So we picked her door and the scene was shot and we stayed in contact for a year or so after that. But the thing about that show was it was so different from anything anybody was seeing with a black couple. We had to fight for everything. I had, in the opening titles, I wanted to be in a tuxedo with a bow tie and what we call shoot the cuffs, you know, where I had seen James Bond do that so many times. And one of my favorite movies, Dr. No the first, before he goes in the casino, he shoots his cuffs. And I always wanted to do that. So I shot that scene with me shooting my cuffs, dressed in a tuxedo with a bow tie. The network people, oh, you're going too far. You're going too far. So finally, I had to stand and say, no, it's going to be in the opening titles, whether you want it or not. This is my show. This is my deal. I may not get another one. So anyway, it stayed in. I won that battle. They got mad because Daphne was wearing a lot of hats. I said, black women love hats. I want her to wear hats. Oh, we fought for that. And anyway, the show got on. We did 13. I exec produced, starred in it, and so did Daphne. And I knew it wasn't going to go more than 13. It was my payoff. So I decided to take the money that I made on that show and buy a farm and retire from show business. So at the end of the episode, I knew we weren't coming back. I bought a farm in Virginia and moved back to Virginia and quit the business. I didn't even have a television in my house for a year. I wanted to just cleanse myself of propaganda. And so we had no television and for a year, and I stayed there for 3 years, and I pretty much retired. And then finally one day my business manager called me, the late Bob Philpott. He said, Tim, Bob. I said, what's up? He said, you love your farm? I said, I love my farm. Oh, it saved my life, brought my blood pressure down. It is the greatest thing I've ever done. I'm so happy. He said, well, I'm glad you like it. You want to keep it? I'm going, yeah. He said, well, you better bring your butt back out here and get to work. So I went, oh, okay. So I went back and started working in television again. Got Sister, and a few other things.